98.5 KOME and Camel. Gee, Sasquatch from the Single Factor album. Before we talk about Camel here, we got to rattle off what we did before that, and that'll also pertain to what's going on. Mike Rutherford and three things actually from his Small Creeps Day compact disc, Between the Tick and the Talk, Working in Line, and After Hours. Of course, Mike Rutherford is the an original and still is a bassist with Genesis, and of course Mike and the Mechanics. This is, I guess, early Mike and the Mechanics. Great stuff. Pink Floyd, before that, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, live version from their latest Delicate Sound of Thunder. I'm Greg Stone. You're listening to Stone Trek, a special program every Sunday night from 9 until midnight with the best in classic progressive rock, jazz, fusion, and local rock and roll. And tonight, my very special guest, Andy Latimer, founder, leader, and sole original member of Camel, who, of course, had 12 albums, none since 1984.
My God.
Oh, brother. Anyway, Andy, Sasquatch we just played there.
Sasquatch, yes. Sasquatch, what do you want to say about it? Well, Sasquatch was the song about my feet, actually. They all called me Sasquatch at one stage because I've got rather large feet. And I can't really remember. Simon Phillips was on that, Anthony Phillips. A lot of Phillips were on that, in fact. David Payton, Pete Bardens. Done in one take, that was. Great fun to do.
Whoa. And of course, the Mike Rutherford we just played before that, Anthony Phillips and Simon Phillips were on that, too.
Yeah. They get around, these boys, don't they?
Incredible. Wow. Making a lot of money, aren't they? Doing studio stuff?
I suppose so. Somebody is.
Oh, yeah, they might as well. Anyway, speaking of Camel, let's go back to the early days and start with that a little bit. We're going to play a track that we'll tell you about in a minute. But how did the name Camel come about? Visit the zoo or what?
Now, you've asked me this before, Greg. A long time ago.
That was 11 years ago. Come on.
And I don't know what I said. Can you fish out the tape?
You guys
we were in a pub.
Yeah,
see,
right,
he knows more than I do, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, we were in a pub, gibbering along like we usually do. We go to pubs. Pubs are places where you drink alcohol. That's if anybody doesn't know what a pub is. And we spent many hours in many pubs trying to think of different names, and eventually I think it was Doug came up with Camel, and we sort of went, yeah, they're kind of lovable, funky creatures, you know, warm and things. And we sort of slept on it for a few days and, you know, said, yeah, why not? It wasn't anything sort of too earth-shattering, really, but we were all comfortable with it and kind of grew to love it, and then it grew into being something else altogether.
Now, when you were in England, of course, you're from England, and at the time, your first album, just called Camel, came out on only England and was not available to the American and a regular American release. You could find a decent record store and get the import of it. But Mirage came out, it was the same way. It was not released in America for a while, as I recall, and had the Camel cigarette cover, and they had a problem with that.
That's right, yeah.
And then Janus Records, the American label, picked up Camel and released the album under a different cover. But it was about 6 months after it was originally released in Britain. At all that time, Frampton's Camel was coming up strong, and there was some confusion between Camel and Frampton's Camel, although they were two completely different things.
Yeah, there was.
There's some wild stories about that.
Not too wild, you know. People came in, you know, and said, "Where's Peter Frampton?" You know, but it didn't last for too long. You know, people sort of soon sussed out the difference between the two bands, and Peter Frampton dropped the name Camel.
Yeah,
I think,
right away. Right.
He didn't do much. He was mainly over here anyway. He didn't do much in England, so he wasn't that big in England at the time. So it didn't give us too much of a problem. We did actually phone up the management at one stage and said, "Here, look, you know, we've got this name Camel," and they told us to go away, basically. Well, in sort of general terms, and just carried on using the name. But then, you know, as I say, it all worked out okay in the end. We persevered.
There you go. Got to. You know, nothing against Pete Frampton or Peter Frampton.
No, he's probably a very nice chap.
He is. He's a very nice guy, and nothing against that. That he didn't know that there was another Camel. It was really. I asked him about it later on, and he just didn't know.
Yeah.
And when he found out, he said, hey, the hell with it. You know?
Yeah.
Just dropped the name.
Oh, well, thanks,
Okay.
Peter.
Just like that. And then he went on to
I
make
never knew
Franklin
that.
Comes Alive and
Jeez.
sell millions.
A wealth of information you are, Greg.
Anyway, Andy, we've got a record queued up from the Mirage song. That is, of course, queued up from the Mirage album. And if you'd like to introduce it for us,
Yes, this
Why not?
is a thing I wrote based on, I think it was The Hobbit. Maybe not, maybe Lord of the Rings. I think it was Lord of the Rings. And the first track's called Nimrodel, and that goes into The White Rider. And this is for Anatole, who drove 30 miles to get my autograph tonight. And if you're out there, drive carefully. And thanks again for coming all this way to see me. Cheers.
and if you want to call Andy and chat a little bit, we have a couple of lines open, but take your time, spread it out, okay? 575-KOME. And here's Camel. And Camel. All right. Andy Latimer, what did we just hear there from the Mirage album, huh?
That was Nimrodel and The Procession, which I admitted last time, and The White Rider.
There we go. In 1974?
Yes, my old mate. I'm getting a bit old now.
Oh, my God. I mean, times have obviously changed.
No, are they?
But really, that record stands the test of time. Every song on it does. Now, were you
Yeah.
thinking about that when you made that? Gee,
No,
20 years
it-
from now?
To be honest with you, Greg, it sounds a little old to me in parts. You know, certain things, a sort of certain naivety, which I kind of like about it, really. But no, I mean, when you create a piece of music, I think that's the last thing on your mind, whether it's going to last or take a test of time. You know, I mean, I think the Snow Goose is stood the test of time. I mean, that's still selling well.
Good. All over it. Where would you say, I mean, you have a very strong following in Europe, right? In Germany and
Sure,
France
yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
Still? I mean,
Yeah,
is
it's
it-
amazing, actually.
Really?
Still, Camel fans are amazingly loyal. You know, and they still, you know, when we do concert tours, we still sell out, you know, and it's amazing they still come after, you know, because we sort of have long layoffs, as you know.
That's which we'll get into later. Definitely
blimey.
long layoffs.
And so they're still there, and I thank them for it. It's great.
Right. Well, speaking of Snow Goose, we're going to hear a little bit of Dunkirk, a little bit of the Snow Goose with Dunkirk, I should say. And we'll talk a little bit about Snow Goose when we come back. All right?
Okay.
98.5 KOME. Andy Latimer from Camel. Snow Goose we were talking about does stand up to the test of time, as we were mentioning a little earlier. That was based on, what's his name's book?
Paul Gallico.
Right.
Right.
Well, see, now we're up to 1976, folks. I mean, now we don't feel as old, right?
Right.
No, we're getting there. 75 was Snow Goose, and we're going to get into a little Moon Madness. In 1976 was a landmark year. Do you have any comments, Andy, about Snow Goose before we move along to Moon Madness and the good old days?
Well,
Oh, yes.
it's got a sort of spot in all our hearts, I think, the band I'm talking about. You know, it was a piece of music that happened. I don't know for what reason. You never really understand what makes a piece of music work and what doesn't. But we were all, I know as far as the band was concerned, we were all sort of pulling together really well at that stage. It was sort of the peak, I think, of the four of us. And we all had a good time, and it was kind of interesting making the album because we'd never actually heard the piece all the way through. We wrote the pieces and rehearsed the pieces separately, and then sort of put them together in the studio, so that when we were in the studio, it was the first time we actually heard the piece all the way through. And it was great. I remember everybody's expression. They were all sort of, oh, this is not bad, you know. We might have something here. So it was a kind of special album, and it did a lot of things for us. It brought our profile up quite a lot.
You did a live concert at Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, that was
orchestra,
kind of
London
scary.
Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, it was a good event. You know, it was something that we wanted to do. You know, we lost quite a lot of money on it, even though we sold the place out. It was just, we knew we were going to lose money on it because the orchestra cost a lot, and the Albert Hall cost a lot at that time, and we really weren't doing well financially. But it was an event that we felt we had to do. We would like to have toured all over with it, but it's not very practical to take a 50-piece orchestra with you, So, but it was fun.
Well, then came Mood Madness, 1976. That's when you toured America, at least the West Coast. I know you'd been in America before that, but
yeah, we actually toured halfway through finishing the Snow Goose. We laid down about sort of half of the Snow Goose before we set off on this mammoth tour, which we did. It was about 3 months of America, every state, flying everywhere, which was kind of a weird experience at that time, but it was because we were supporting everybody, every man and his dog, it was and strange acts, with like Kiss and Steppenwolf and Wishbone Ash, and so we had to we only had about a half-hour spot, and we did all that sort of up-tempo numbers. It was kind of difficult, but we got through it.
Well, then, of course, I recall in 1976, after Moon Madness came out, which you're going to hear a track from next, you played at the boarding house in San Francisco. Now, of course, gone. I don't know what happened
really?
to it. Oh, yeah, it's been gone for a while. I don't remember what happened to it. But you sold out to, I believe it was 5 straight nights in 1976 in San Francisco, and about 80% of the people came from the South Bay. And I remember that very well. It was the first time I met you, and
yeah, it
was something.
They were good gigs, I think. I quite enjoyed the San Francisco gigs.
Well,
I like San Francisco anyway. It's nice.
We will proceed
with Moon Madness.
Yes, and Airborne. And you're listening to Stone Trek, 98.5 KOME, with my special guest Andy Latimer from Camel. 98.5 KOME. That's Camel, of course. I say that a lot tonight. First Light from Rain Dances is what that was. That was 1970. Okay, 77. Now we're getting up there. And I'm talking to Andy Latimer. I'm Greg Stone. You're listening to Stone Trek, 98.5 KOME every Sunday night from 9 until midnight. If you're wondering what's going on, well, that's what it is. And Andy Latimer's visiting tonight. He's the leader, founder, and everything else, Mr. Camel. And we're just shooting the, you know what, right?
Yo.
What? Anyway, we just heard, I just said that, didn't I? And Airborne before that, Moon Madness. Okay, that's how much fun we're having tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laughing.
All right, let's see here. We, a couple people have asked whatever happened to Andy Ward, the drummer from Camel.
Ooh, now there's a question. Andy, very good friend of mine. He's got a problem at the moment. He's still trying to work out with alcohol and a few things. I don't want to go into it too much, but he's now sort of looks like he's doing okay, and he's gigging again. He's doing this strange gig with a violinist, just him and a violinist, which is mind boggles a bit, but he's doing well. He wrote to me recently. I've just heard from him, and they've got a live album out that he's going to send me, so he's hopefully doing a lot better now. He sounds a lot better, but so he didn't like the large gigs, the pressure and things didn't really appeal to him. So he's got his life in sort of a much quieter mode now.
All right. This point in time here, where we just played Rain Dances, and when Rain Dances came out, you guys toured again, America, and you came to San Jose. Yes, and you played the Center for Performing Arts. That was the last time you ever played in the Bay Area, or that was the last American tour, right? I mean, that was at that point.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right there.
God.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do something about that, and we're going to be discussing that in a little while. I keep saying this. Putting it a little later, we're going to talk about this, but we're going to really let you have it here.
No, we're not. Well, good night, folks.
But that was a really a very memorable gig. It had sold out. You did very well. I mean, your South Bay contingency was all there in full strength, and it was a great show. I mean,
Thanks.
It was. I have a tape of it somewhere, as I told you before. I just snuck out with it. But hey, we can't do that. It was. Gosh, it was so hard to, because you were out of the club circuit by then, especially here, and versus the boarding house a couple of years before. This was a concert type thing. How did you feel? What's the difference to a musician as yourself, as a progressive musician, where you're not playing in front of a dance type oriented drinking? There's a heck of a difference. Isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I myself prefer playing in small clubs because I like to have contact with the audience, and when there's sort of 500, 600 people in the audience, it's fantastic because you can actually really put over yourself much easier than when you're playing 3,000, 4,000 seaters. It's much harder because you don't see the audience. You see about the first 4 or 5 rows when you're playing the big gigs. And so it's much harder, and you have to be a bit sort of larger than life. And I enjoy that personal touch. So there's the difference, really. I mean, it's much more of a show as well. It's more of a production, more lights, bigger PA system, and more costs. Usual stuff.
Okay, let's get into some more Camel, and from the Breathless album, and a track called Echoes. It's about Indians, right?
Yeah, it was Peter's lyrics.
On 98.5 KOME. Where am I? There we go. All right, I'm Greg Stone talking to Andy Latimer from Camel. We're working our way up to the present and future here in a few minutes, and let you know what's going on. Now, Andy, question. After Peter Bardens left Camel, now we're around that time now, point in time here, you received, you recruited some of the... Well, you were able to obtain... You got some of the best keyboardists in Europe to play on your albums, meaning Kit Watkins, Kit Watkins from Happy the Man, Ton Scherpenzeel, from Kayak, Duncan McKay, used to be with 10cc, David Sinclair and Jan Shellhouse from Caravan. Yeah. How did you pull that off? That's amazing.
Just asked them, really. It was no great coup, They sort of phoned up and said, what are you doing? They said, nothing much, They said they'd do it, And you're right, they're all very, very good.
Were they delivering pizzas or something, and you call them up and, I'm serious. That's incredible. What a lineup. There's 5 keyboardists that any band would have died to have, and also Mel Collins on sax. I mean,
Mel was sort of like a 5th member of Camel. He kept coming in and going. He'd tour with us and do, an album, and then tour, and then do something else. And he's great to work with, Mel. He's sort of one-take Collins. Comes in and does his stuff, and then off he goes again.
Well, I commend you for your taste in keyboardists.
Oh, thanks.
Great. I mean, just...
Yeah, it keeps me on my toes.
Yes. All right. Okay, well, let's keep going, huh?
So we're going to Nude now. We've slipped a few albums, folks.
We skipped. Time is running out here because we got to get to the future.
The future.
The future. Okay, here's some stuff from Nude and Camel on 98.5 KOME on Stone Trek. 98.5 KOME. You're listening to some Camel on Stone Trek. Long Goodbyes is what that was right there from the Stationary Traveler album. And also Camel there, City Life from the Nude album, 1981 that was. Now, I'm talking to Andy Latimer. If you just tuned in, you missed a whole lot of stuff here. But, hey, we'll try to make up for it, huh? Okay, Stationary Traveler was released by Camel in 1984. And 5 years ago, and that is their last album that they've done. Why, Andy Latimer? Why? Tell us.
I'm not telling you now after all that. Well, in actual fact, you're not quite correct. Pressure Points came out after.
That wasn't a studio album.
I stand corrected. But we did have an album out after that, which was Pressure Points. I spent probably 9 months or so, we did a video, which is a 90-minute video of a London concert at Hammersmith, which isn't available in America, I have to tell you, unfortunately. It's available in Europe still, and going strong. But after that, I've been in legal battles, recovering from legal battles with management, basically. I had a 3-year lawsuit with them, which we won eventually. I was fighting this suit on behalf of Peter, Andy and Doug. Very boring stuff. But contractually, we couldn't release another album till I'd sorted this out, which I've done. And I've been writing lots and lots of material, which, you know, I've got another Camel album that's in the bag. I'm looking around for the right record company at the moment because as I'm no longer a starving musician, I can choose, which is great, you know. And I've learned a lot from past deals. So I'm looking for the right company. That will be out, I should think, towards sort of the end of the year, I think, more in the winter rather than summer. I've also been doing a lot of sort of incidental music for TV things in England, sort of documentaries, and nothing too exciting, but, you know, they've been interesting to do. Played with a few different bands as well in England.
You just came back from Holland, speaking of...
That's right. I've been working with my old friend Ton Scherpenzeel, and we're working on a new album together, which will be a sort of duet thing, which is all instrumental music.
Ton's from Kayak, which you've heard on Stone Trek before, by the way. Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Continue.
So there'll be quite a bit of material coming out soon. You'll just have to watch and
listen to Stone Trek.
Yeah, and listen to Stone Trek.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get played.
Oh, yeah, I'll bring it here first, of course, so you get a bit of a scoop. But there are no plans to tour as yet. The album deal has to be secured. I'm quite pleased with the new Camel album. It's quite exciting, and well, we'll just have to wait and see, really.
Who's on the album?
All the original, well, not the original. There's Ton, last lineup basically: Paul Burgess, Colin Bass, Chris Rainbow.
Stationary Traveller.
I think Peter will be doing a couple of things. I spoke to Peter Bardens today, and we may be doing something together. He's still touring, and he's still sort of. I think he's going out again on the road soon. He was talking about that today. Over here.
Oh well, he's
so
based in
LA.
LA.
Plug there, Pete.
Yeah. Well,
and,
he told me he wanted to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're sort of planning to go out again in about a couple of different things. But I mean, I don't know whether we'll actually be performing yet. I mean, that's sort of way down the line. I mean, we'll talk about doing a recording project first and then see how that goes. But it's all sort of pretty sketchy at the moment with Pete and I. I mean, the Camel and the thing with Ton is more important at the moment, and he's got his albums to do. So I mean, it's still very early days for Peter and I. We keep in touch.
Well, good. Now, I've gotten a lot of calls, too, on from people on where to get the
CDs.
Camel CDs. Yeah. All I can tell you is they are around, but they are import CDs. Okay? Got to pay a little more, but it's worth it. And you have to check your better record stores. That's all I can say, because I'll get in trouble if I specify here. But your better, more hip record stores, okay? You get my drift. And they are available, though. And if they're not, they're probably just sold out, because they do sell quite quickly. Make them order it for you. These more...
Make them, that sounds...
Yes, force them. Throw them down.
That was a bit drastic, that, to me, Greg.
But you can do that at the hip record stores. They will order them for you. And do it. I mean, that's what I would recommend. Okay, there's my answer. Okay, there. Well, I mean, one more question, Andy. I know you've got to get going, and we got to do Rough Mix here, which is local music coming up pretty fast here.
Great.
But, people have also asked, wait a minute, now, Camel's from England, Andy Latimer's from England. What in the heck are you doing in San Jose in 1989?
That's a good question, really. I mean, I'm sort of hanging out with friends, and I'm soaking up the culture and the sun, because it's hellish cold in England at the moment, and in Holland. And I'm thinking about moving over to America for a while, but I don't know how permanent that will be. Depends on so many different factors. But so I'm just here enjoying myself at the moment.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm glad you are.
Yeah, that's not too informative, is it?
Well, I'm glad
just having a good time, really, you know.
Well, you know, over the years in Stone Trek, it's been since 1974 that I've been doing this, and I've been playing Camel since then. It was always there's a great band from England, but gee, I wonder if I'll ever get to see them. And then it happened. You came over here twice, and I mean, now, you know, you're here in person. I mean, it's just, it's amazing to me.
Yeah, I'll be doing some things around this area, I'm sure. You know, I mean, I'm sort of gigging around, you know, and sort of looking for things to do.
So the guy behind you at 7-Eleven just might be Andy Latimer. You never know.
Yeah, I got recognised in Nob Hill the other day. He charged me more, yeah.
Okay, well, Andy, it's been a pleasure and talking to you. I'm really glad you took the time to stop by.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. And,
well, I've enjoyed it. It's been great.
And we will keep the audience informed on any new album, when it is,
sure.
Where it is, what it is.
It won't be long, folks.
Okay, well, there you go. See, you heard it from the horse himself, or the camel himself. Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Andy, and we'll leave you with one more Camel track.
Yeah.
And Rough Mix is next. Okay, here's a kind of a rare goodie now here. Yeah, why not? Let's go out with a bang here. This is an extended mix of Pressure Points from Camel. Only found in its version on a 12-inch, right?
That's right, yeah.
So there. We'll leave you with that. And thank you again, Andy.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, Greg.
98.5 KOME in Camel.